Hello, all you freedom-loving people. The military is increasing its pressure on Venezuela for drug trafficking as President Trump restores the title of Department of War. And reports say RFK found links to Tylenol taken during pregnancy and autism. Okay, let's get into it. Today, President Trump signed an executive order to change the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War, so the agency has reverted to its former name. Following the conclusion of World War II in July 1947, President Harry Truman signed the National Security Act, which merged the Navy and War Departments and the newly independent Air Force into a single organization called the National Military Establishment, led by a civilian Secretary of Defense who also oversaw the Joint Chiefs of Staff. 2 years later, in August 1949, the National Security Act was amended, renaming the National Military Establishment to the Department of Defense. Today's executive order that brought back the Department of Defense's name to the Department of War was the 200th order that President Trump signed in his second term.
Thank you, and it's an honor to sign this, and we will do that right now. I think that's a big one, I'll be honest. That's a big one.
It's a big one, Mr. President.
Actually, the new order was one of several initiatives that the Trump administration initiated as part of its Warrior Ethos campaign within the Pentagon. The order means updating the Pentagon website and signs, as well as renaming the Public Affairs Briefing Room to Pentagon War Annex. And both President Trump and Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth have recently indicated that they want to change the name of the agency. Let's check out what President Trump said back on August 25th.
And so, Pete, you started off by saying the Department of Defense, and somehow it didn't sound good to me. You know, it didn't sound good. Defense, what are we defense? Why are we defense? So it used to be called the Department of War, and it had a stronger sound. And as you know, we won World War I, we won World War II, we won everything. Now we have a Department of Defense with defenders. I don't know. If you people want to, standing behind me, if you take a little vote, if you want to change it back to what it was when we used to win wars all the time, that's okay with me. All right?
That's coming
soon,
sir.
You let me know if you want to do it. I think Department of War. It just sounded bad. He said, sir, on behalf of the Department of Defense. Defense. I don't want to be defense only. We want defense, but we want offense too, if that's okay. So you'll make a decision. But you know, as Department of War, we won everything. We won everything. And I think we're going to have to go back to that. In the meantime, I've stopped all of these wars.
Hegseth even created a social media poll on the topic in March. He also expressed that the change would reflect a broader cultural shift within the Pentagon. In an interview with Fox News, Hegseth said, "We've reestablished at the department the warrior ethos. We want warriors, folks that understand how to exact lethality on the enemy. We don't want endless contingencies and just playing defense. We think words and names and titles matter. So we're working with the White House and the president on it. Stand by." Hegseth also mentioned it in the latest cabinet meeting.
Started my sentence by saying, the Department of Defense. To which you said, that just doesn't sound right. So maybe next time we're here, my card will read Department of War. We'll see. But it's not, here's the thing, here's what people miss. It's not just about words. It's about the warrior ethos. It's about what the department is supposed to do. George Washington started the Department of War because he wanted us to win our wars. Our founders didn't want endless foreign entanglements. They didn't want endless contingencies and deployments. They wanted an empowered military that was, the handcuffs were taken off to fight to win.
Yesterday, Hegseth also posted on X, Department of War, after the executive order was reported. And today, Pete Hegseth reaffirmed the philosophy of warrior ethos.
After winning a war for independence in 1789, George Washington established the War Department, and Henry Knox was his first Secretary of War. And this country won every major war after that, to include World War I and World War II. Total victory, Mr. President, as you said. Then 150 years after that, we changed the name after World War II from the Department of War to the Department of Defense in 1947. And as you pointed out, Mr. President, we haven't won a major war since, and that's not to disparage our warfighters, whether it's the Korean War, or the Vietnam War, or our generation of Iraq and Afghanistan. That's to recognize that this name change is not just about renaming, it's about restoring. Words matter. It's restoring, as you've guided us to, Mr. President, restoring the warrior ethos.
It's unclear if Congress, which has the authority to establish federal executive departments, will need to step in to issue a final approval of the move. However, President Trump previously has voiced confidence that he doesn't need approval from lawmakers and that they will get on board if necessary. President Trump told reporters on August 25th, "We're just going to do it." I'm sure Congress will go along if we need that. I don't think we even need that. In the meantime, today, Reuters reported that the U.S. is increasing military presence on Venezuela. The Pentagon is deploying 10 F-35s to Puerto Rico for strikes on narco-terrorist groups in the southern Caribbean. They are expected to arrive by the end of next week. This is part of the Trump administration's campaign against drug cartels. Previously, we reported that 7 warships and a nuclear submarine and more than 4,500 sailors and Marines were sent to the Caribbean, and the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit is already carrying out amphibious drills in southern Puerto Rico. This is while the Pentagon confirmed yesterday that 2 Venezuelan military planes flew over the U.S. Navy vessel in the Caribbean Sea. The Pentagon posted on X, this highly provocative move was designed to interfere with our counter-narco-terror operations. And over in Europe, a recently leaked letter indicates that France is preparing its hospitals for the possibility of treating thousands of soldiers if a major conflict erupts. A French health ministry letter told hospitals to prepare for a major engagement by March of 2026, and it asked the hospitals to plan for the care of French and foreign troops for up to 180 days. The French government said that this was part of a broader crisis readiness from epidemics to security threats. And the health minister said that planning ahead is perfectly normal. And in response to the summit that was held with Zelensky yesterday, Putin responded to the intention of some European countries to send troops to Ukraine as part of security guarantees. Putin said that should any troops be placed there, especially now in the course of military action, we will treat those as legitimate military targets for an attack. Today, the Wall Street Journal reported that HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will release a report this month that links autism to Tylenol use in pregnancy. The Wall Street Journal also claimed that the current NIH under the HHS is developing the report from existing studies, and it might also point to other possible autism causes and future research needs. Today, shares in Kenvue, the parent company of the Tylenol maker, fell over 14% after the report. In response, Kenvue pushed back on the report, saying that they've reviewed the science and that they believe there's no proven link between acetaminophen in pregnancy and autism. Then the HHS pushed back too, saying that reports on the study's contents are only speculation until it's released. President Joe Biden recently had surgery to eliminate skin cancer lesions. Yesterday, Biden spokesperson Kelly Scully confirmed that President Biden underwent surgery after an Inside Edition video showed him leaving a Delaware church with a new scar on his forehead. Scully said that President Biden underwent Mohs surgery. Mohs surgery involves cutting away the skin until all cancer cells are removed. 2 years ago, President Biden had a common skin cancer that was removed from his chest. Back in May, his office also said that he had been diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer that had spread to the bones. Doctors noted that it was hormone sensitive and it could be managed while his family reviewed treatment options. The Biden family has been faced with multiple cancer diagnoses over the years. First Lady Jill Biden had 2 cancerous lesions removed, also undergoing Mohs surgery, and their son Beau died of a brain tumor in 2015. Today, Tesla announced a massive new potential pay package for its CEO, Elon Musk. An official filing shows that Musk could earn $1 trillion if he meets a number of targets, including raising Tesla's market cap to $8.5 trillion by 2035. To earn the $1 trillion pay package, Musk must add $7.5 trillion in market value to Tesla, which is twice as valuable as Nvidia. Musk also has to deliver 20 million cars and roll out 1 million Optimus robots in the next decade. The plan also calls for 1 million robo-taxis and 10 million new full self-driving subscribers. Musk has to grow Tesla's earnings to $400 billion in a decade from just $16.6 billion last year. The proposed package would keep Musk tied to Tesla for at least the next decade. Tesla chair Robin Denholm said today that the goal is to keep Musk motivated and focused on delivering for the company. Tesla shareholders will vote on the new pay package plan in November. In the meantime, Musk skipped President Trump's White House dinner with tech leaders last night. At a long table with 33 tech leaders from Meta, Microsoft, Apple, Google, and OpenAI, among others, President Trump said that the group was taking our country to a new level, calling them high IQ people. The executives praised President Trump, and they spoke about tech progress. But President Trump focused on money. He asked each leader how much they were investing in America. Meta's Mark Zuckerberg, who sat to President Trump's right, said $600 billion, and Apple said the same. Google said $250 billion, and Microsoft said up to $80 billion per year. The event also featured Jarek Isaacman, who founded the payment processing company Shift4. Musk once nominated Isaacman to lead NASA, but President Trump pulled it back after a thorough review of his past associations. The dinner came after First Lady Melania hosted an event earlier in the day for a new artificial intelligence education task force, which some tech leaders also attended. The main message delivered was that big tech is all in to make America the leader in AI. And Google is under pressure from different courts. On Wednesday, a federal jury in San Francisco ordered Google to pay $425.7 million for secretly collecting data for 8 years from millions of users who had turned off a tracking feature in their accounts. The verdict came after a class action lawsuit that covered about 98 million U.S. users between 2016 and 2024. The class action lawsuit that was filed in July of 2020 accused Google of ignoring user controls. During that trial, Google said that the data collected was non-personal and was stored in encrypted locations. Google also claimed that the data wasn't tied to accounts or personal identities. But in that trial, the jury ruled that Google had spied on users in violation of California privacy laws. And now, in response to the verdict, Google has again denied it and plans to appeal the verdict. Lawyer David Boies, who represented the users, said in a statement that they were obviously very pleased with the verdict that the jury returned. And in Europe, the French Data Protection Authority fined Google £325 million, which is about $380 million, for violating internet cookie rules. They also fined fast fashion retailer Shein £150 million, or about $175 million, for the same reason. The regulator found that both companies failed to obtain free and informed consent before placing advertising cookies on users' browsers. The ruling noted that Google failed to meet the requirements despite earlier warnings. Shein also amassed massive amounts of data from cookies on 12 million monthly users. Both Google and Shein said that they would review or appeal the decisions. Today, the European Commission hit Google with a massive antitrust fine for 2.95 billion euros, or about $3.47 billion, Regulators fined Google for favoring its own ads, saying that Google distorted competition across Europe. In response, Google vowed once again to appeal the decision. Just 2 days ago, President Trump said that he would impose substantial tariffs on countries that regulate U.S. tech companies. And today, he reacted to the EU fine. President Trump blasted the EU fine, saying that it steals from U.S. jobs and investment, and he warned that his administration and taxpayers won't stand for it. Meanwhile, at last night's dinner with top tech CEOs, Google CEO Sundar Pichai addressed the recent ruling in Google's antitrust lawsuit. And on Tuesday, the case against Google's parent company Alphabet for holding an illegal monopoly in its core market of internet search came to an end. The court ruled that Google would not have to sell off Android or Chrome. And during the dinner, Pichai expressed his relief at the decision, and he personally thanked President Trump for the outcome, saying that he was glad it's over. Yesterday, a State Department staffer was sentenced to 4 years in prison for selling defense intelligence to suspected Chinese regime agents. Michael Skeena was a South Caribbean desk officer at the State Department in Washington. With top secret clearance, Skeena had access to files that the Justice Department warned could cause exceptional grave damage to national security if leaked. Because of his role, he had access to diplomatic and defense intelligence. So how did this begin? Skeena's involvement began in April of 2022 when he was contacted online by individuals who identified themselves as staffers for international consulting firms. Despite clear signs that the individuals worked for the Chinese Communist Party, Skeena continued to cooperate. Skeena received multiple small payments early on, which amounted to over $10,000 in total cash, and an iPhone 14 that was used as a covert communication device. Skeena used the phone to photograph classified files, some of which were marked secret, and he transmitted them to his handlers. In one incident, in August of 2024, prosecutors said that he personally accepted $10,000 in a Peru hotel. Back in February, Skeena set off alarms by trying to email himself a sensitive file by labeling it unclassified. FBI surveillance later caught him photographing classified documents in the State Department's secure enclave. So FBI agents seized his covert phone and arrested him outside his Virginia home before he could send the images. And yesterday, a federal jury sentenced him to 4 years in prison. On the same day, Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced a new visa restriction policy against Central American nationals that are controlled by the Chinese regime. Rubio said in a statement that the visa restriction applies to Central American nationals who, while in Central American countries and intentionally acting on behalf of the Chinese Communist Party, knowingly direct, authorize, fund, provide significant support to, or carry out activities that undermine the rule of law in Central America. The two most important guests at the Chinese Communist Party's September 3rd military parade were Putin and Kim Jong-un. Regarding Putin, there has been extensive media coverage, so today let's focus on Kim Jong-un and the Kim dynasty. Among the many leaders visiting China, the appearance of North Korea's supreme leader Kim Jong-un drew particular attention. This marks the first time since Kim Il-sung in 1959 that a North Korean supreme leader has ascended the viewing stand for a Beijing military parade. For the CCP, North Korea holds immense strategic value. The CCP has repeatedly emphasized that the peninsula must not descend into war or chaos, since any loss of control over the situation would impact development in northeast China and across the nation. North Korea also serves as a crucial pawn for the CCP in counterbalancing the United States, Japan, and South Korea in Northeast Asia. Maintaining normal Sino-North Korean relations not only provides bargaining chips, but also ensures that the CCP retains strategic reach even as geopolitical risks escalate. For Kim Jong-un, the Chinese Communist Party is equally indispensable. With Russia mired in war and its assistance limited, North Korea must still rely on the CCP to sustain its economy and maintain regime stability. Pyongyang is only 800 kilometers from Beijing, which is a mere 2-hour flight, yet Kim Jong-un chose to travel by train. In fact, selecting rail as the primary mode of transportation for long-distance visits has been a long-standing tradition among all North Korean leaders since the nation's founding. They consider air travel unsafe and feared assassination attempts by political rivals. Trains not only avoid the risks associated with flying, but also provide tighter security and ample space for accommodating medical teams, security personnel, and staff. To the outside world, this choice might appear mysterious, while revealing the enduring concerns that have long weighed on the Kim family. However, this specially equipped train, due to its heavy security, traveled at an extremely slow pace. The 800-kilometer journey took a staggering 24 hours. That's an average speed of 33 kilometers per hour or less than 21 miles per hour. However, Kim Jong-un does not share his father, Kim Jong-il's, fear of flying. In 2018, he traveled by plane to Singapore to attend a summit with President Trump. And later that same year, he flew to Dalian, China to meet with Xi Jinping. But he also greatly enjoys train travel, perhaps because trains can satisfy his diverse needs. These bulletproof trains feature dining cars serving exquisite French wines and fresh lobster dishes, and they typically include Kim Jong-un's office and communication equipment, and they even have a dedicated carriage for transporting 2 bulletproof Mercedes-Benz. Kim Jong-un's daughter, Kim Ju-ai, is a girl of only 12 or 13. She was among those accommodating him on his visit to China. This marks the first time that Kim Jong-un has brought his daughter on an international trip. Photos released by the official North Korean media outlet KCNA show Kim Ju-ai standing behind her father and in front of the foreign minister upon their arrival in Beijing. Some observers believe that Kim Jong-un's actions serve as an announcement to the international community of her status as North Korea's next-generation leader. Kim Jong-un's father, Kim Jong-il, similarly used comparable methods to declare Kim Jong-un's position as his successor. Concurrently, North Korean propaganda outlets consistently refer to Kim Ju-ai using honorifics such as esteemed and respected, which is likely aimed to solidify her identity as the heir apparent. Kim Ju-ai made her first public appearance in North Korea in November of 2022. At the time, she was not yet 10 years old. Since then, she has frequently accompanied her father to various events. In North Korea, the members of the Kim family are also state secrets. To this day, there's no consensus outside the country on exactly how many children Kim Jong-un has. According to an earlier report by the Korea Times, intelligence indicates that Kim Jong-un's first child is a son. In addition to his daughter, who has appeared in public, Kim Jong-un has a third child whose gender remains unconfirmed. However, Kim Jong-un's son has never made a public appearance. Some people speculate that his son may have physical or mental health issues, but no other information is available to confirm this. However, Chong Song-chang, the director of the Center for Korean Peninsula Strategy at South Korea's Sejong Institute, believes that Kim Ju-ai is Kim Jong-un's first child. Chong Song-chang previously interviewed Kim Jong-un's aunt, Ko Yong-suk, and her husband, Ri Gang. The full name of North Korea is the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, yet in reality it operates as an imperial regime. Successors are invariably descendants of the Kim family. They are personally designated by the previous leader according to their own will. So why then do the Korean people accept the Kim family's rule? Is it loyalty, fear, or something deeper? We'll dig into that more on Monday. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much for your support of Front Page. Please remember to leave a comment below the video. This is really helping us to be seen all around the world. The more people who watch Front Page, the more freedom-loving people the world will have. And please hit the like button and hit the notification bell after subscribing. And please share this video with your friends and family because everybody deserves to know the truth.